I feel like I've lived 10 lifetimes in my short
Okay.
while on this earth, because I am never afraid to pivot. Finally, it's like I have the schedule that I have, and I'm like, I don't like that. I just want to be in my bed. But it's like, girl, it's what you asked for.
Funny enough, I was not afraid to get fired from my job, but I was very afraid to quit my job.
Like you made the decision to leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm purposely leaving security, quote unquote.
I needed to declare it all out. I needed to like just focus on what is important right now, which is me.
The very moment I remind myself, just let it go and surrender. Sometimes everything's not up to you to control.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode. My name is Shay.
I'm Tamika.
And I'm Aaliyah, and this is
The SZNS Podcast.
So it's great to see you both. I haven't seen y'all in like 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. What's been going on? We haven't really done a little catch up like we normally do, so I'm curious.
Life has been lifing. I feel like what's been going on, I feel like there has been a lot of just things that I've been doing that I've been wanting to do. I'm a developer, so I had a week off of working on a project that I was doing, and I decided to work on this project as well as some other things, kind of just like pushing myself and trying to make sure that I stay committed or dedicated to whatever it is that I'm doing. After the week hiatus was up, I kind of am supposed to be starting back with the project, but that has also like halted a little bit. I feel like right now I am in a little bit of a redirection. In a little bit of a redirection right now in regards to just like what I thought my journey was going to look like and what it's actually panning out to be, which I think I'm okay with. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm about to cry.
It's okay.
No,
Oh my gosh, this is so weird.
It's okay.
you're good.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Oh my gosh, what the hell? This is some crazy.
It's fine. It's not that crazy.
really not.
No, it's
okay.
really crazy that I just like, I feel like that's a testament to how like these last 3 weeks have been. It's just been like so confusing. It's been like definitely a journey, of course, but like what you were saying, like, you know, when you have things planned out for yourself and you know you have step by step the way things are supposed to work out, you know exactly what you're supposed to do in order to get to a certain goal, and you work towards that goal and you do what you're supposed to do, and then sometimes it just doesn't work out, and then you have like questions from the people around you who are like believing in your vision and believing in your dreams, and it's like, I can't answer it for you because I really don't have the answer. I have no clue. Even though I planned it out. and y'all know, like I write down everything. Like it's all like a plan. I know what's supposed to happen at every minute of every second of every day. And then these things happen and then they just don't go according to plan. And so you have to like replan and just like figure it out. And while you're figuring out, like, the world around you is still going on. And, like, bills still got to be paid. Like, people are still emotional around you, and you have to cater to everybody else's feelings. But then you're trying to be, like, you have to cater to yourself as well. But you don't want to be selfish. But then you know that, like, you have to do other things. You can't just focus on yourself and what you want. And then you have the questions, and then you don't have the answers, and you try to sit still. But when you sit still, you just think and think and think about everything. And it's just like, oh my gosh, can I get a break? And to the outside world, it looks amazing because things are happening. Like things are happening. And I don't want to make it seem like things are not happening. Like things are happening and great things are happening. But it's not happening how I expected it to happen, as quickly as I expected it to happen. And then just like, I feel like effortlessly as I thought it was supposed to happen, because like we have this stage, we have this platform, and we're like, you know, like we know how to talk, we know what people need to hear, you know, but it's just like all these other things that come in like behind it. And it's just like, I don't know, like hiccups and like taking 3 steps forward and 10 steps backwards, and then like revisiting and re-understanding, realigning, refocusing, everything. And it's just like, oh my gosh, how many times do I have to do this and for it to like finally
get going?
Dang it. Yeah. And even now I'm babbling, and I just feel like my life is a babble right now. Like on my journey right now, my life is a babble. Like a whole bunch of stuff just like happening and like putting things in place, but just like, where are the results? Like what, at the end of the day, I'm supposed to be at a certain point in my head.
In your head, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that sometimes expectation can be our greatest enemy. Mm-hmm. So, especially when you get too attached to expectation, which is what I've learned in my time off. And I can relate totally. Like, I feel like my whole life up until the last week was a babble. Like, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. People would ask me. And it's like, you know, I'm signed to an agency. And I think, you know, a lot of people think, oh, I got signed. I'm going to be getting all these jobs. I'm going to be modeling for Sephora and Macy's and everything. But I've still had to do a lot of work on my own. And I had a big moment of reckoning where I was like, I used to be so sad because I was like, this is not looking at all how other people are expecting it to look, nor how I was expecting it to look. I had to take a step back and be like, where is my attachment to the expectations stemming from? Because first of all, other people's expectations of you are obsolete. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So whatever, you don't get the results when you get the results because I'm going through what I'm going through. And 2, sometimes that's just how life works. Like, it doesn't always work at our pace. And when we just take a moment to recenter and redirect, which is, I'm excited to get into that topic today. But when we take a moment to redirect, and like, I feel like I started trying to re-strategize life as opposed to trying to plan everything out, because that's kind of what we're taught. Like, you make a 5-year plan and you do all this, and while all those things are good, sometimes when you get a little bit too attached to that plan, you forget that actually what we're meant to do in life is to just enjoy it and take every day, you know, day by day. You're not always going to have the answer to everything. This is a learning process. You're doing something new. Same thing with all of us. We're all doing something new. I think you just need to give yourself more grace. Don't get too caught up in like, I was supposed to be doing this by this time, because at the end of the day, it's God's plan. It's not your plan. Mm-hmm. And he's going to humble you every single time.
Every single time.
So, yeah, just enjoy your life. If you don't know what's going on, that's fine. Yeah. You're going to figure it out. It might not be tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It might not be 2 months from now. Yeah. But in the meantime, the only thing you can do is enjoy this moment for what it is. Mm-hmm. So.
And I feel like in the process of doing that, I feel like I kind of had to like block out like a whole bunch of stuff and just like be happy, like still be joyous, still like just be goofy, be a little kid, because the things that I'm worrying about, there's no way that it's going to happen tomorrow. Like it's like a waiting process. Yeah. Like it's going to happen, but I need to wait. So in that time, I've been trying to like just keep happy, keep spirits up, because I mean, I can't change, like, I can't stress over what I can't change.
What
like,
else can you do?
Can't, exactly.
Yes. And I feel like both you and me need a big lesson on patience. I used to be impatient, always like when's it gonna happen? Okay. But like in the time, you know, when I had my disappointments, and there were plenty. Okay. Mm-hmm. The disappointments were plentiful. I was like, girl, you just need to slow down. What are you rushing to? Mm-hmm. There's nowhere to rush. Yeah. There's nowhere to be. The destination is already there. Mm-hmm. Just take your time.
Like, I am the destination.
I am the destination.
Like,
and
I'm working on
exactly. And the most valuable parts of the journey is the lessons that you learn along the way. It's not always the destination. So
that part. Ooh, say it again. Say it again.
The most valuable part of your journey are the lessons that you learn along the way. It's not the destination. So take a deep breath. Woosah. Wake up every morning and be like, I hear the birds today. I am happy. So,
yes.
You'll get through it, boo.
Yes.
I believe in you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Shay, what's been going on with you?
We love supportive friends. We first of all really need to take notes of that. Just like when we have moments of stillness and like when we just need to cry and we just need to feel it, and we create a space that's safe enough for us to pursue those actions and emotions and feelings. That's such a beautiful thing that I think a lot of people don't have access to. And I feel like we are really blessed, and we did bless this space prior. And I feel like that really did open the door to that type of vulnerability. And like, I know that those things are not easy to share, especially with strangers and friends.
Yeah.
And we do appreciate that. Like, we don't take that for granted either. And that was very sacred. And we love you and we support you. We hear you. And we see you.
Yes.
So I just kind of wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, my dear.
Of course. And then I agree with everything that you guys are saying. I think in terms of the journey as well, we have multiple journeys. We can have infinite amount of journeys. It's a spiritual journey. It can be a physical one. It can be a goal-oriented journey. I feel like we are abundance and we're infinite. So even measuring things, like I know I'm very guilty of not using the correct barometers to measure my success or to measure my progress. I'm actually using one that like really isn't even, doesn't equate to any of the stuff that I'm doing. It actually has nothing to do with what I'm doing. And that's kind of where my direction gets misguided. I also think too, one of my now becoming very close friends who I work with, and he told me, he was just like, because I get really in my head about my music and about my art and my craft. And he was just like, I don't necessarily like know what I'm doing. I feel like I don't know like anything. And then some people are just like, no, but like you're doing all this. And like, I have all this knowledge and I have nuggets of wisdom that I'm sharing. And I'm like, okay, I know stuff, but like the stuff that I'm thinking that I know, I'm still unsure about though, because I'm spewing it to people. But then with myself, I was like, but is that actually legit? Is that valid? The mechanics are valid because it's just like 1 + 1 = 2. But it's the other stuff, it's the in-between, it's the nuances where I'm just like, this feels right, so that's why I'm saying it, that's why I'm doing it. But the results, I'm not seeing them the way I think. And like, that brings me to that notion of be clear about your dreams, but open to how they come to you. Like, be super clear about that. And they are. And like, again, atomic habits, shout out. Compounded success is a thing. Getting 1% better is a thing. And just because you don't see it, that like 100 strike to that rock will crack it. But it wasn't that 100 strike. It was all the ones beforehand. So you really like, you won't see it visibly. Yeah. So like, we really need to get that out of our head of like counting down, like to a calendar. Calendars don't exist when it comes to progress, for real. Like a timeline is kind of a bit of a delusion because nothing goes according to plan. And plans are really just safeguards to make us feel more comfortable. So I think, and then again, back to what my producer was saying, I was just like, I feel like he's just saying all these people are being signed and all of these tiers of success are happening. And I'm just like, and he's saying you're there, like you're there. You need to have someone like quote unquote just snatch you up type time. And I was just like, but how does that happen? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? He was just like, first of all, what you're doing, like keep doing and continuing quality work. Keep working, keep being consistent, keep being disciplined, and keep being you. Like, you don't want to be a cookie cutter because that can easily just be thrown to the wayside because you're just going to be labeled as that. Right. He was like, be unique to you. Treasure you. Basically, he was just like, in the stage that you're looking at, like, oh, when you get to this stage, it's going to feel like this. It's going to look like this. Get that out of your head because it actually is a moment. It's not like a duration of time. It's literally like you're gonna feel it for a moment and it's going to go away. So thinking that you're going to get to this level isn't like, oh, it's like a lobby and I'm going to like walk in this lobby and then I go up at one flight of stairs or like one elevator change. Now I'm on this level. That's not how it is. Yeah. It's literally just you're on the elevator and it's going wherever it wants to go. And that's what life is. Yeah. And that's what success is, because you're going to have the lows, you're going to have the highs and the mids and everything in between from that. And that's how it's going to feel, because it's always going to change. We are always evolving, and the things around us, they're dealing with the same exact thing. So why are we expecting stability when nothing is stable? Stability is a myth. It is. Yeah. It's another safeguard. Life is beautiful. Life is a blessing. The hard times, the crying, the happiness, the tears, but like it's like the people, like you said, and the experiences that you meet along the way. It's the family that you have and the family that you meet along the way that makes it beautiful and enjoyable and
sometimes bearable.
And bearable. Yeah. And we're all just trying to figure it out, you know?
Yeah. I will say something that we actually talked about when I started getting we did a soft case study, whatever you want to call it. And then we started to get like some traction or feedback from people. Mm-hmm. And so then I was on the phone with Shay and I was basically like, we're going to get brand deals. We're going to get this. We're going to get this and this and this. And Shay literally had to calm me down. And this is how my mind works, because I go from 0 to infinity. Like nothing is the limit, you know? And then Shay but she kind of grounded it and was like, but remember what you're doing it for. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we always need to have that be our result, the why. Like, why are we doing it? Like, I truly feel like I have been going through like a healing journey, and I truly feel like I have a message to share with people. And I truly feel like people can learn from what we have to say, you know, as a collective, from our different perspectives and where we've been in life and where we haven't been and where we're growing to and things like that. So I feel like people can benefit and heal, because this world is like ugly and mean right now. It is just so harsh. Like there's so much going on, and I feel like we can help that. We can heal that. And that should be our result. Like that should be our, like what we're striving towards. And I'm talking about brand deals, and I'm talking about going on other people's podcasts. I'm talking about all these other things. And yeah, it'll widen our range of the people that we can deliver to, but we also have to make sure that the end goal is for the message to be clear and to be delivered to whoever needs to receive it, you know? And so like, I feel like keeping that grounded, even though like, you know, sky's the limit, but keeping that kind of grounded, like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you really doing this? Because like when we keep it at that, then it's going to be that. And then everything is going to grow, because we're doing it with the purest of intentions. Like it's not for money, it's not for fame. Like I never even thought about that, but I thought about the money, I'm not gonna lie to you. but that's like what we're doing it for, is to like help. Like I truly do believe that we have something to say and we can help people, you know.
Definitely. And so yeah, I feel like anytime you stay connected to the why, the how always just kind of unveils itself naturally. Yeah. So yeah, just got to stay connected to the purpose in doing things, and that goes for everything in life. But as far as what I've been up to, I've actually been having a great time, but it's been really a big adjustment because, you know, I've been off work for the past couple of months, really living my life, loving it. And that's been great. It was good. It was much needed. I grew a lot in that experience. I grew to love myself exponentially more, and I really connected to my faith during that time a lot. So I felt prepared for what was to come, which was last week. I just started training for my new job, 6 weeks total. And it's definitely intense. I've been waking up at 4:00 in the morning and getting home at like 6:30 p.m. Been some long days, but my discipline within the 6 weeks has already grown a lot. And I feel like now, like in the past, I would go into jobs like wanting that to be the end all be all. Like I would start a new job and I would be like, this is it. Like, this is going to be the place where I stay. Cause I always wanted that, like, I'll stay and I'll become the CEO. Cause I definitely could. It's not that hard.
Right.
So I'll stay, I'm gonna work my little butt off and I'm gonna be the CEO and I'm gonna find purpose within this job, as opposed to now I feel like I'm using this opportunity as more of a tool that I can leverage to, do other things that I plan to do in life and that I know are more so tied and aligned with my purpose. So I'm really excited about it. I've been a little bit aloof for the past week, so I apologize about that. But yeah, I've been going through it, but not really at the same time. I'm happy, and this is everything that I prayed for. But it's like, you pray for stuff for so long and then you get it and you're like, ooh,
Is this what I meant?
yeah.
God? Like,
yes. Or even it's like, I was like dying. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to start. I'm tired of sitting at home. Like, I love to be busy. Y'all know this. I be doing the most. And finally it's like, I have the schedule that I have and I'm like, I don't like that. I just want to be in my bed. But it's like, girl, it's what you asked for. So yeah, I'm thankful for, the position where I am, even if it's not exactly what it looked like, or I thought it was going to look like. And I never thought that I was going to be doing this for a job at any point in my life. So it came as a shock to me, but I think I'm going to enjoy it and I'm excited. Met some really cool people so far. So I'm hoping it's aligned with where I am right now in my life with the work that I've done. But all this to say, that kind of goes into today's topic, which I think we beautifully segued into that, about redirection and pivoting in life, because, like the points that have been made, I feel like life is taught to us growing up that it's linear. The way school works is linear. That when you get to college, it's linear. Even corporate, it can kind of be like a linear, rise to the top.
Yeah.
However, when you become a real student of life and you actually go through things, especially if you, God forbid, you leave the corporate structure and you try to do your own thing, you really learn that life is not linear, baby. It's a spiral, baby.
It's a circle. It's a circle.
An endless, infinite circle. And I feel like to a lot of people, I feel like I've lived 10 lifetimes in my short while on this earth, because I am never afraid to pivot. And to some people, they probably be like, this girl's a quitter. She'll quit anything. She always has a new job and do. But that's not because I'm quitting. Right. I feel like this is because I feel like I'd be more of a quitter to stay in a job where I know this is a dead end or I'm never going to find fulfillment in this. But I feel like something that sets us apart, or something that I admire about all three of us, is that we're not afraid to pivot or quit something in order to find an opportunity that is more aligned with what fulfills us and what we actually want out of life. So, yeah.
Another thing about the corporate structure, or like living your 10 lives. Girl, I live 10 lives. And I feel like the thing that we always have to do is we always have to learn from every single experience. Like that's pivotal in our growth, in our healing. It's pivotal to everything. And I believe that even, like, say you leave a corporate job or something, which we all have done. We all have done. And proud. But in the corporate structure, we learn structure. We wouldn't have known that if we had just came out of high school and just said, I'm just going to figure it out. So now we know how to communicate with people. That's something that we had to do a lot in our previous job. We know how to organize things, because that's something that we had to do in our previous job. Or even just like planning trips, or just different experiences like that. Like it gives us a different kind of experience set that can help us through life. And I feel like that's what we should be doing. We should be learning and growing and failing. Failure is the most important part of it, because if we're perfect and successful at everything, then you don't learn anything, you know? So I'm very happy for like every experience, every quit job, every fired from job, every like everything, every manager that didn't understand. So now I'm owning my business and I know how to communicate with like my employee. It's just one. I know how to like speak to her or make her feel understood, or I know like when she needs a week and a half off because her mother is in surgery or something, I know how to say, you know what, you need your time. You need to figure out what's going on with you and your family, because that's more important than this project that we have working on, you know? So like I know how to be empathetic because there were times when people weren't empathetic to me in the workplace, you know, and I feel like we just have to learn from every single experience, every life that we have lived. We have to learn all of these lessons so that we can like pass it on. And I feel like that's a part of like what we're supposed to do in life. I feel like we shouldn't just keep our knowledge to ourselves or just like hold on to it. And no, like everybody that like, I hope everyone that's around me learns from me and that I can impact their lives just as much as I learn from every single person that is in my life. And that and to the 10th degree, like I can tell somebody something that they told to me like years ago that they probably don't even remember that they said. And I was like, girl, yeah, I do this now because you told me that, you know, take your own advice, you know, like, but it's so true to like life. And I've learned from them. So like, I'm going to give it back to you just how you gave it to me. And I'm going to say that I'm going to give you your credit too. Like, actually, I learned this from you, you know, so like you know what to do. Right. So like, let's do it, you know? So I appreciate that part of life. I appreciate the failures. I was just crying like a baby, but I really do appreciate the failures in life for sure.
You were crying like a human.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes I be wanting to be a robot because things have to get done. Yeah.
Exactly. Humans are supposed to cry. Why do you think we have those tear ducts?
Exactly.
We're supposed to cry. It's supposed to create that homeostasis.
And don't you feel much better now?
I do. You know, I do.
Like
I feel lighter.
Yeah. Right. It's like those feelings are heavy. So it's nice to just release them and then wash them away. And then, you know.
And it's the feeling of feeling like you're failing at what you like. I don't feel like I fail, but in my head I'm like, I don't fail. Like there's nothing that I cannot do, as opposed to like embracing the failure and like letting it come and then just pivoting and doing something else. But I don't fail. Like in my head, I don't fail. Like I don't like to fail. So when I feel like a failure, that hits me harder than me like doing something and then it doesn't happen and then redirecting. Like feeling like a failure and then like redirecting from failed events are like two different things to me, you know? And when I feel like a failure, I just feel like, oh my gosh, everything that I've tried, I've exhausted every option and it just is not working. And I just like have a moment of what? The flip.
Like, you don't use that word.
Like, right, exactly. Like, seriously? Yeah. Like, and I know how to think through some things and have alternative. Nothing. I'm coming up all the way short. Oh my gosh. And that's when it hits. But then, as you said, that's when you have to just like release it and like let that moment pass, because those are fleeting moments. They're very fleeting moments.
It's just a moment. And I think also when it comes to failure, we also, I feel, should redefine what we view as failure. Because failure to me personally, like trying and failing, you're probably going to see this in one of my reels if you have my Instagram. But trying and failing is not failing. Yeah. Trying, failing, and stopping is failing. So as long as you are still continuing on, you're doing it. Yeah. And you're doing what else can you do? Except for keep trying and keep continuing. Because honestly, I think the world, life, the school of experience, which is life, I think people have this thing of these fixed definitions that we were fed and taught and conditioned to think that that was like law, or to think that that was truth. And I feel this era in our lives, our 20s, our 30s, or whatever, whenever you find that awakening moment, it's just dispelling and debunking. Like, that's all it is. Like, I was afraid to quit my job. I was, funny enough, I was not afraid to get fired from my job, but I was very afraid to quit my job.
Like, you made the decision to leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm purposely leaving security, quote unquote. And even like, the status quo is, be at a job for at least a year, 2 years. And like, that is the status quo. Because why? Because it looks weird on your resume when you have this gap. Well, why does it look weird on your resume? Oh, because jobs will look at you kind of funny. Well, why do jobs look at you kind of funny? Because they also have a quota. And it just becomes these like codes and laws that are passed by people who also stuck to the narrative of that linear way of life. And that's not how everyone wants to live their life. And I feel, again, it's a thing too where we are groomed as students in like higher education and education in general to be workers, not to be entrepreneurs, not to be self-employed, not to be our own person, our own boss. And they do that just to keep, capitalism alive.
Yeah. Right.
So in the grand scheme of things, like, when you have the tools, so thank you, college, and thank you for the professors who've given me wisdom, and the people who have educated me, who are just, strangers, friends, family, who have instilled in me lessons of like, you have full autonomy over every decision that you make, and you do not need to subscribe to anybody else's. And whether it's like failures, quote unquote, successes,
Quote unquote.
quote unquote, they're all moments, and they all pass. So it's just like, we're working towards something, and it's really, it's fairy dust.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is.
Basically.
And like, life is magical. So we really can't take that for granted. Yeah. And I think it's important to understand like what your truth is and what you think the truth is. Because that is what is going to really make, break, stop, pause, all of that.
For real.
I have a question. When we get stuck in those moments, what do we do to come out of that negative way of thinking?
For me personally, I just surrender. I'm like, girl, when you really remind yourself, like, girl, you just need to calm down.
Exactly.
It's really not always. I mean, some things, you can't control. And of course, once you get the inspiration or you get the idea, of course, you don't just sit around and like, you have to do work. But when you really do feel like you've exhausted all options, sometimes you just got to be like, I'm just going to give it to God. I'm going to give it to the universe. I'm going to release it. I'm going to let it go.
I'm going to sleep.
I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to rest. I'm going to take a pause. Because failing and trying again can also include a little pause in between.
Yeah.
You don't have to get right back up.
And it probably needs to.
And you need to pause and you need to regroup. So that's what I always do. Anytime I'm getting too caught up in worry, the very moment, I remind myself, just let it go and surrender. Sometimes everything's not up to you to control.
Yeah.
That's the moment when the peace, it instantly returns, because I'm just like, it's out of my hands. It's out of my hands. It's above me, literally.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely, I sometimes, well, I will say as of late, like the last 3 days. But so typically I would do that. Just like I would like go to the park, and I feel like I've found like a very like spiritual kind of like healing that comes from nature and just like being with God. I feel like I'm most with God when I'm in nature. And when I'm having those moments where I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? This. I'm like, oh, I need to go for a walk or a run or a stroll. Like, I need to be in nature, and I need to relax. I need to stop thinking about it. And then I also need to talk to God. Like, God, what is this supposed to teach me? Like, what messaging are you giving me right now? What do you want me to see that I'm not seeing right now? And I feel like he always answers me in in like whatever the answer is, but I know that he always gives me some kind of revelation or some kind of answer or some come to Jesus that that I need in that moment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, all I needed to do was clear out my environment, like all the energies in my environment. I needed to clear it all out. I needed to like just focus on what is important right now, which is me. Like focus on myself and figure out, like ask ourselves the whys, and then after the whys, just chill out. And literally as soon as I chill out and I'm just like, okay, well I just figure out all the whys, so and then boom, the Lord just says, okay, well, you're behind to the studio and do this, or talk about this, or, write this down, or like, and I just feel like that's really been my saving grace, like just finding my center. And I feel like I don't want to have to find it. I want to be centered. Like I want my being to be centered.
I think that you being able to find your center is you being centered. I don't think there's ever a point in life, or maybe you do reach that point, but I definitely am not there yet. But I still feel centered, but there are going to be times in life where you might stray away from that. And sometimes, I mean, it's natural human conditioning, especially when you do have like outside influences and people feeding you stuff. Like sometimes when that happens, I just have to isolate myself. And I dive deep into whether it's sewing or whatever, schedule a couple of photo shoots, whatever it is that I enjoy, go to the pole studio just to like really be in my own zone. I feel like as long as you know what recenters you, then you will never be able to stay off your center for too long. But it's natural to, every day is not gonna be everything's good. Like, and you're gonna have those days.
I be chasing, like, I need to be happy all the time. I can realistic. Never not be happy. I need, and that's where the difference between being happy and being joyful comes in. Like joy is a state of being. Like happiness comes and goes, So I feel like I need to be joyful at all times, where I can find my center and I can like look to different things and go and find an outlet, and then come back to myself and after I figure out whatever I needed to figure out. But I feel like happiness, it's fleeting. Happiness is like a moment. Yeah.
And I feel like how those moments are able to quote unquote spread is being able to apply what you learned from savoring that moment and applying it to other moments. So I feel like it's almost like a constellation kind of thing, where like you kind of see the bigger picture because things are starting to kind of align like that, and everything kind of illuminates when you're able to be like, oh, like I'm happy, I'm joyful, and I know why this is happening, and I'm in control of that feeling. I know how to apply that to the next feeling and the next action and the next moment. And I think that's how you're able to live that flow, be in that state of flow. I need to do that to really encompass that.
I wanted to add to the point that you were making. I wanted to talk about something that I learned in Thailand. The point that I was going to make is that when I was in Thailand, me. I was by myself.
Wish I was there. But we Zoomed and stuff.
Yeah, we did Zoom. And when I was in Thailand, it was a very humbling experience for me, because when I was there, I wasn't focused on how to make a buck. I wasn't focused on looking good to go to the club. I wasn't focused on like who's seeing me. I was focused on myself. I wasn't focused on anyone else. I was focused on myself. And then when I was there, I kind of picked up the way other people go about like life and living in different countries, because not just in Thailand, just like other countries too. Everybody that I met, they were kind of like in a relationship or moving towards building a family of structure with the person that they were with. So if they were a boyfriend and girlfriend, then they were a boyfriend and girlfriend, but they had a business together, and they were building their business because they know that they want to have family, and the way that you sustain a family is by having the structure of a business. So in other countries, it's more likely than not that people work for themselves than it is for people to work for like a corporate company or like a big company or something. And I found that very interesting because it's like they're focused on themselves, and they're focused on like the structure and building their family, building generational wealth, building like different things like that. And I feel like it's, in contrary to us, we are so concerned on like building other people's businesses or like growing other people's wealth and like being wealth, like having a part of that wealth ourselves too, but like not at the amount of wealth that we could if it was something that we can pass down to our children. Like we have a corporate job, we can't pass that down to our kids. Like we can't say, oh hey, this is Sally Mae, and ooh, I don't like using Sally Mae. this is Lee Daniels. That's not much better. This is Lee Daniels, my little baby, and he needs a job here, and I'm retiring, but I want you to take care of him. It's not how that works, you know. But if you're in a family structure, you know that you have like your child has even the option to follow in the family business or the family footsteps, and they're more about like building generational wealth. And I think that's kind of something that we've lost here because we're trying to climb the corporate ladder, or because we're worried so much about society and our ranking in society, our ranking in our friend group, our like just ranking in Atlanta, in the world that we live in, just like, you know, and we need to be focused on like the things that matter, like find our like center, like figure out what's going to matter to us in the future. Like people out here having kids, are you going to be able to teach your children something? Are you going to be able to give your children something? And I'm not just talking about financial money or whatever. No, are you going to be able to like teach them how to run a business, or teach them how to organize some books, or teach them how to do the accounting, or, you know, like just different life lessons that you can teach your children that don't have to do with just money. I just feel like in different places they have like a lot of like they just care about different things, and it just makes them happier though. Like everyone is so happy, or it seemingly so happy in other places, and it's just like everybody looks at Americans, and I was smiling when I was there, and they were like, oh, you're American, you smile? And they were like, yes. They have this impression about us that we only care about material things, which I mean it's a little true, that we just like we eat the worst trash.
That's true. That is true.
It's true. You know, like it's just like they have an opinion or an impression about us, and then I come in there and they're looking at me like, ooh, you have to be something else. You're not American. And it's just like, that's crazy. It's really crazy that's like how they view us. And that's where our moral compass is, basically, as a society, as an American society. That's where we are.
That's sad. That's sad, but it doesn't surprise me though, because I was watching Emily in Paris, and it was like a similar.
Are you on the second season or the first season?
Oh, girl, I finished it.
Oh, me too.
It was good.
It was.
Really
I
was
good.
An Alfie. Stan. I'm an Alfie stan, but it's okay. Sorry, Alfie. Yeah. Anyway,
he's very handsome.
He was cute, but he's short.
He's a short king. No, he's a short king.
Yeah.
But he's a king. He's just short.
Yes, he's just short. He's a king for someone else to date. But not that I would ever get the opportunity.
You never know.
Anyway, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
You American with your high standards.
And also, Alfie's not even his name. He has a different name.
Well, whatever. If that's going to make me American, I'm proud to be an American. I don't give a damn.
Oh, wow.
Don't care. Yes, I'm real patriotic if that's the case. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Any freaking.
He was about to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Right. Like Kenny Chesney. It was the accent for me.
If that's the case, then that's what it is.
You're right.
No hate though. No hate. I'm just tall, so that's all it is.
You're right.
But where I was going with that was, in the show, they were like, Emily, why are you at work so early? Emily, this, like, you know, just a whole bunch of American stereotypes. So I do know that that's a general sentiment. I just feel like because of the way, like, the structure of our society is set up, and because we're so tied to our work, like, literally when we go to social events, why are you asking me what I do for work? We're at the club right now. Like, let's not talk about work. But we are, that's just kind of how we are. And I know in Emily in Paris, they were making a point of that too. Like, when we're out at social events, we are not allowed to talk at work. We're not allowed to talk about work on the weekends. But with America, work is so, like, intrinsically tied into, like,
It's
our
who
personal
you
identity.
are.
Yes. But I'm just like, and I think that's where the the fear around pivoting kind of comes from, because it's viewed as like a personal failure. If you have things going on in work, or if you don't have things going on in work, then we as Americans kind of view that as like, that's a bad reflection on me as a person and who I am. But it's just like that what you do for work has nothing to do with who you are as a person, like absolutely nothing. So I wish that that's something that we learned and could celebrate a little bit more here.
Yeah.
For sure.
We do definitely attach ourselves to what we do. Like, oh, you know, such and such. Oh yeah, he does da 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 da.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to, oh yeah, he's always smiling. I love him.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like, as opposed to like his character or who he is as a person.
Yeah.
No, we talk about like how much money he has, or what he does for a living, or his stability. Things that really is none of anybody else's business.
And that doesn't tell you about him. Like, really,
Exactly.
it doesn't really tell you about him. And I think another thing, though, on the kind of flip side of that, I guess, is a lot of people don't really do much outside of work, though.
Right.
So it's like, what else can you say? Like, you don't really have much of an identity outside of work.
Right.
And it wasn't until I stopped working, because I used to be a workaholic, honey, and would just be working all around the clock, just because I want to have a good work ethic. And like you said, we're taught to be workers. So it wasn't until I took time off of work that I actually had time to even explore different things outside of work that I even like to do. Because before, you could have asked me a question and I would have been like, girl, I smoke a little something, not anymore, and you know, go out on after work on the weekends, and that's about all I do. But now I feel like I can say I'm a much more well-rounded person, because I've given myself the time and space to actually do that during my time off. So
No, I think social deviation has always been like a trigger for people. And just because of the way everyone's been brought up and what everyone's been exposed to, outliers are outcasts. And like you were saying, when you talk to someone about, like, let's imagine this, when we're at, like, someone goes on a date and like all you talk about on that date is work related things. Personally, that's boring.
it's boring.
It's not fun to talk. Okay, well, so-and-so got a raise, and we did a bunch of Excel spreadsheets here, and like, oh yeah, we marketed this really cool campaign. Like, that's all good and well. That's a portion of the conversation. What other space are you going to be filling that's going to be like tantalizing or stimulating or something? Oh, like, I like to go hiking. It's always so vague. Like, the main things that you'd be seeing on like dating apps or anything is just like, oh, hiking, working out, going out to eat. And it's just like, those are cool, but like, let's expound, let's elaborate on it. Because like, oh, what restaurants you like to go to? It's like people are picking apart or nitpicking conversations, and it's like pulling teeth trying to get answers from people, because people genuinely don't know what they like to do.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the time to figure out what they want to do, because they're working around the clock and they feel pressure to do that, because if not, then it's a failure. Or they feel like they're not doing enough and they beat themselves up, and it's a vicious cycle. And that's what people like, though. They're like, oh, we're going to keep maintaining that power because now you feel lesser than, so I have control over you, and I have control over your finances, so I have control over your future. And like, being in that trap and getting caught up in that is like so dangerous and so scary. And I'm so thankful that we have independent minds, and that we are blessed and lucky to have that individuation where we're able to identify what's not for us and what is for us. And that we can take control of those moments when we feel like this does not serve me. I need to exit.
Yeah.
I have to exit.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, like, life is, back to the moments, fleeting moments, and they should be savored, enjoyed, and cherished. But like, when you, God forbid, someone dies, What do they say at the podium? They don't say that, oh, Joe Schmo had an 80K salary or a 200K salary and a really nice car. You want to leave people better than how you found them, you know? And like that is like I know that someone said, oh, I want to be remembered by a smile. When you think of me, you smile. And that was the only thing they wanted from that. And that was so simple and so pure and beautiful. And it was just like, that's really just what life is. It's a smile. And whatever is behind that, whatever created that, that is what you're living for. And it's just, we complicate things. And the whole thing of like, life is not easy, but it's simple. And we complicate it, and people complicate it on purpose. And then I think it's so special. And I'm lucky, like I said, like you, me, all of us, like we're identifiers, we're decoders, and we're decipherers in a way, because we're able to really navigate and be the pioneers of our life and of our journeys, of our transformations.
I have a question. I always got a damn question.
No,
that's a beautiful
What do you?
thing.
It was like a long time ago. I don't know what it was, but people always used to say, you know, you got to live your life to the fullest, and you know, what would people say about you at your eulogy? Like, what would they say about you when you died? And I always kind of like remembered that, and I always remembered like, I don't want nobody talking shit about me at my funeral. Be like, she was fake nice, or you know, like nice nasty, or you know, I don't want nobody, like anybody, to feel like that. So I like, you know, went on a journey to like just complete myself. What would you like to be your legacy when you leave this earth?
It's a loaded question.
That is loaded. Like, oof, flashy ass shapers.
Yeah. Okay, I'm doing an imaginary scenario right now in my head.
And it's okay. Don't feel pressured. You can take a minute. Take a minute.
That was deep, Tamika.
That was
Like,
a big
what?
question. I was not expecting that to be the question.
Like maybe
I've been working on my question asking. I really was. I've been
like,
trying to.
I feel like I would like to be remembered by my kindness. That's probably one of my biggest ones, because random acts of kindness can change the world, but can change someone's world. And that can change the world. And being remembered for kindness and being remembered for someone who spreads that and who can be the catalyst for more is what is going to make the world better than how we left it. So I would say leaving seeds of kindness and growing the fields of kindness in the world is what I would like to be remembered by.
Nice.
That's very nice.
Yes. I'm sure you'll accomplish that. You've accomplished that already. So.
Exactly.
Thanks,
Yes,
guys.
of
Appreciate
course.
it.
Mine, I would say, is to inspire people to think differently, in the sense of, like, I hope that I would like for people to see me and say, like, I want to be as, like, authentically myself as she is, because that's what I aim to do every day. It's just like, I just want to be me. I don't want to do things for like to please other people. Of course I want to do things for other people. I don't want to do things to please other people. I don't want to do anything that doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to look any type of way that doesn't feel like myself. And I feel like if we all had that privilege, and if we all had the space to do that, and if we were all less judgmental of people that choose to do that, then the world would be a better place. I really think so. So inspire people to be themselves, like fully, wholly, without judgment, without fear of judgment. That's the legacy that I want to leave.
What about you, my dear?
I go to.
Yeah, you go.
Of course.
Okay. I feel like I want to leave a legacy of love. Like, just everything that I've done like in life has always been just out of love. Like I live through love, and I feel like that's the true agape love. That's the true like unconditional, undying. I'm not gonna say that you're gonna be in my life forever, because if you did something crazy, you know, I love you from afar, but the love will always be there. It's always gonna be love, out of genuine love for other people, out of love for myself, out of love for like a job, a spouse, a friend. Like I don't want, like I feel like we've had this conversation where I don't need understanding. Like I don't need you to understand me, but I need you to know that I did it out of love. Like I need you to know that that's always my why. Like I don't have hate in my heart, even for people who I feel have been hateful towards me or done some really bad things, or I don't have hate for them because I understand, like I have empathy for them. I know in some way, shape, or form why they did it. So like I'm okay, but I want you to know that my reactions are because like it could be out of frustration, but the frustration doesn't come if the love isn't there. Like I'm not going to be frustrated with anyone that I don't love. If I don't care, literally you won't hear a peep from me. Like it's really that simple. If I don't care, you won't hear from me again. But if I care enough to react, it's because I love you, because genuinely from the heart, like it's all love.
Very sweet.
That's beautiful. Because I think that was a healing moment for you too. Because we're infinite.
Yeah. Very true.
So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, on that note,
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to end this.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree.
Yeah, this was a nice discussion.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that just because you decide, you know, you want to stay with the job and not quit your job.
yeah,
You're
we're
doing
not-
perfectly fine. Just make sure that you are happy and fulfilled and
Yeah.
find purpose in every single day. Like, don't be walking around miserable.
Yeah.
That's shortchanging yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's never too late, never too wrong, never too bad, never too this, never too that, to pivot and put yourself first and do what you want to do. That would be my parting message for today.
I agree.
Align that ass. That's my parting message.
Okay.
Okay, well, if we're all doing one, mine is a wrap up of kind of everybody's. My parting message would be: live a fulfilling life, not a perfect one.
Yes, that's good.
Okay.
Love it.
All right. Well, I think that we can wrap this up.
Yes, absolutely. This was a great talk, you guys.
was.
As always, recorded and non-recorded, we always have a great little discussion. So I appreciate y'all for that.
I agree.
I appreciate you guys too.
Yes, I
True
hope you're feeling
therapy.
better.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Good. All right.
I love that.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in.
And don't forget to follow us on our socials, like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok. What else do we got? We got
YouTube.
All those things. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Apple, Google,
Apple.
Spotify.
Exactly. All the digital platforms, we are there. We are available. Please feel free to just like, comment, subscribe.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll see you next time.